Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone, or I should say afternoon. Sorry. Yesterday's Christmas, so you know. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do the usual disclaimers and a few bragging rights. So I got these for Christmas. This may not seem much to you. They're just house shoes, but you know what? Some of us don't always have the luxury of house shoes because it's almost impossible to find our freaking teeny tiny shoe size. Well, Mama came through, and I don't care if they have Christmas trees on them. I'm living in these shoes from here on out. Every time I'm in the house. Sorry, folks. All right, to the disclaimers, folks. But before I do, a quick warning. And I know I try to not go off into other topics before we go into the JRC, but nothing annoys me more. In particular, because I do live in the Bible Belt and I'm surrounded by idiot evangelicals all day of every day I step outside my door. The ever present stupid but Catholics worship Mary and they pray to saints and that's worship, dear Mother of God. Y'all don't understand your own faith, especially not the first 500 years of it. Okay? You don't. You don't. Because on one hand, they want to tell you that the saints can't cure you, the saints are dead, but on the other hand, they want to tell you that God is the God of the living. These are also the same individuals who will tell you to pray. Pray for money for the church. Pray for this person who has cancer. Pray for this situation. Pray for that situation. Okay. Does that make them mediators in place of God? No. No one would say this, not even the brain dead evangelicals. So if God is the God of the living, and those who died in faith are considered the saints, wouldn't that mean that they are living? Then why is it a massive jump in logic to believe that you could ask them as you would ask a friend or a neighbor to pray for you? This is coming from an individual who grew up in the evangelical faith. So if I have to explain it to these people, I'm a student of history, folks. Don't even get me started on some of the debates that I've had regarding other religions, or we'll never get talk about the JRC started. This is one of my areas of hyper focus and special interest. Special interest does not mean the same for me or a random neurotypical person at all. Okay? All right. That and Tolkien are two areas of debate you don't want to step into with me, okay? As it's said by the alien on Futurama, I will destroy you. Sorry. Okay. To the disclaimers, folks, if you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics. In that, they interviewed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center does not want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused, folks, so you know the drill. Please read the article. Share it on all your social media. You'll find their public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat also linked in there, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding in case the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center actually decides to see through with their threats. Trigger warning when we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center and boarding schools, the Agape boarding school for boys. You're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please utilize the headphones. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they're watching this, very obviously parental supervision is advised. So, where we left off last week, the overwhelming majority of comments supported this ban. Gee, ya think? Thousands upon thousands upon thousands, of which I was one of a massive crowd, spoke out against this. Also, from sources like myself providing the alternative therapies that exist right now, as many as there are people. When you think about the person centered planning approach, when you cater treatment to the individual instead of basing it off of a general practice. But that kind of moves away from my point. So let's continue, shall we? The comments in opposition to this ban were primarily from the Judge Rotenberg Education Center, JRC, and people affiliated with JRC. This includes comments made during the panel meeting and through the submission of comments to the panel meeting docket. We've gone through some of those. And what I find very interesting is those that are in the favor of this device are by majority parents. And it's an interesting thing when you listen to them on those YouTube videos and their testimonials. Nearly all of them say the same things. Me, me, me. My. I. The life we wanted to do the things we wanted to do. Why do I bring this up? Because to bust your bubble, your idyllic bubble, not everybody who produces offspring should be parents. There are many parents that I have dealt with in an official capacity when I worked with the state who essentially were completely, I don't know how to put this, folks. I don't know how to put this in a good light. They were horrified that their kid was autistic, had Down syndrome, had cerebral palsy, and all the myriads of different developmental disabilities, and the kids and their parents that walked through my door on any given day. Okay? These are individuals who had a idyllic picture in their minds of the perfect family. And when their developmentally disabled kid dare differ from that idyllic picture, these individuals broke down. And they broke down in one of several different ways. Neglect of the child, denial, and one horrific case that ended in tragedy and horrific abuse. Okay? These are individuals who started families not because they had massive love in their heart and wanted to raise children, but because of their own image. Okay? Anything that deviated from that image, yeah. It's all about what they want. How they wanted their family to be like. It's very selfish. It's quite disturbing in actuality. Not being willing to adapt to their child's needs. Not willing to even put in enough time to make sure a full functional assessment was properly done by the proper professionals before shipping these kids off. Okay? The reason why these parents panic regards to the GED is because they know that it's just the beginning of the end of that place. And they may end up getting, to use their term, saddled again with their own offspring. Okay? Selfish, selfish, selfish. Beyond, I can't put into words for you. Okay? There were times where I helped intervene and get people into assisted living programs and surrounded by individuals, staff that actually cared about real development and got them away from those situations in which I could breathe a sigh of relief because now I knew they were at least surrounded by people who cared about them, their needs, their wants, where they wanted to go in life, as opposed to what the parents were trying to force the kids to conform to. Okay? Sorry, I kind of went off on a longer rant than I intended, but my point is a lot of those parents that protest so loud for the JRC and scream down our throats that we don't understand, if you listen to them talk, it is all about them, and if they have them, they're neurotypical kids. Okay? Now, you have situations where they speak about when the kids would hit them and they just didn't know what to do, and the JRC came in and rescued them, and they live in this kind of circle of relief without really caring about what the kid is going through afterwards. Now, I'm not saying a situation where the autistic kid is hitting you is a good situation. And for the love of God, I am beyond tired of people telling me I don't understand. When A, I've lived it, I've been on the receiving end, as well as also being autistic myself. Please stop with the I don't understand crap. This is coming from someone who's not only been through the system, but worked the field. I've seen both sides. Okay? I am not delusional in any way, shape, or form. But even in the most extreme of situations, like the ones that they like to drag out and place front and center, places like the JRC, even yes, with those situations, I've seen person centered planning. I've seen positive behavioral reinforcement and many other incarnations that are built off of the same type of principles work. Even, yes, in the most hostile of situations. So please stop telling me I don't understand when I've seen it with my own eyes. Just saying. Specifically, these comments were from JRC residents, family members of individuals on whom ESDs have been used at JRC. One of the parents associated comments included 32 letters from family members, a former JRC clinician, a Massachusetts state representative, and one concerned citizen. Here we go again. Let me make this completely clear. The individuals, the poor souls that the JRC marched in to give testimonials in order to praise the GED were strapped to those devices right at the moment of giving their testimony, with their service person not even 3 feet away from them, with their hands on a remote control. You have to excuse me if I think that coercive testimony should not be admissible. Okay? But it's a former GRC clinician. Where's their retirement coming from? And the Massachusetts State Representative. We are all well versed in just how corrupt the Massachusetts state legislator and court system is. Thank you. All right. I bring up all these points because the FDA wants you to know about the opposition. The fact of the matter is, the opposition can't even fight a good fight in good faith. The fact of the matter is, those who oppose the JRC and aversive therapy is overwhelmingly larger than those who are in favor of it. Not just us lone advocates like the JRC would have you believe, but service providers from all over the 50 states, including the largest service provider for disabilities, developmental or otherwise, in the United States, the ARC. That should give the American public more pause and more reason to investigate exactly what they're getting up to at the Judge Rotenberg Center than perhaps maybe anything else. When you have a service provider that is the size of the ARC, that has been around as long as the ARC has been, providing services as long as they have, not just to adults, but from age 3 up, folks, age 3 and up. Remember, I've worked hand in hand with 2 different directors of the Southwest ARC out of my part in Missouri, folks. I know how large the ARC actually is. I know the variety of services that they provide, and I know the age range, starting from 3 years old to elderly to death, okay? These are not simpletons who the JRC tries to convince you don't understand. Because when you put the ARC up there, and you know their history, you know what they do, there is no arguing that the ARC has never dealt with anyone as severe as at the JRC, because the numbers, I'm sorry, Karen, do not work in your favor. I also know this because, as working with the state, one of my jobs as an advocate was to be on the side of the person with the disability, right? Do you know how many individuals who are more on the severe side, like they're talking about in regards to the JRC, that I help refer to get into ARC services? Because I can't even count them all. Okay? And I went to multiple meetings as an advocate on the disabled person's side, with their parents there, with their caseworker there, with staff from ARC, to create a cohesive treatment program. Okay? for some of, as they like to call, quote unquote, severe. I also got the progress reports, how they were doing with the treatment programs that got crafted, starting with a base of those meetings and a full behavioral analysis done. There had to be some tweaks along the way. Sure, there always is, because there is no such thing as one size fits all treatment, regardless of disability that is at hand. But sooner or later, you could see the small successes getting larger, getting larger, getting larger. Okay? That's why I dismiss things like the parents with their me, my, I wanted, I needed, I thought. And also, I wanted to give you some perspective, not just on the advocates like myself who've been fighting it, but on the organizations that have shown up on our side to help us fight the JRC. Because it makes the arguments that these parents throw out, that the JRC and their lawyers and their sycophants send out, seem like the absolute bullshit that it is. The ARC is one of the organizations that is working along with myself, with ASAN right now, to get the FDA to fix their mistake and name the GED as the device that is the one that we're seeking to have banned. Put that in your pipe, right? And then close out on that, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. I'll see you in a few minutes.